Moin from Hamburg. I'm Walter Matthias Kunze and this is the Daily Trend Talk. So, you're asking yourself maybe, why is he talking in English right now? Because this is a German show. Is it? Well, we're having Michael Keating here as a guest, and Michael is from KEATINGRELATIONS. Michael's business is consulting on human relations, on things that involve people and involve the topics of leadership and work. Michael is an Irishman living here for about 25 years in Germany, but his topics are globally. And so I hope you're with us on this wonderful sunny day. It's Thursday, the 28th of May, and I'd say let's go on, let's see what we're having on the plate right now. Michael and I will be talking about HR generally and the future of work. So we're talking about new work future and the trends coming up. We're talking about ethics, it's a very important point. We're talking about leadership, and we're talking about female leadership versus male leadership and all these principles. You see here we did some preparations already just about these Michael's principles he will be explaining later on. And we're talking about maybe also about AI, how AI can be related to work, to the future of work, and maybe also to questions how this can be implemented in HR. We will see if the time will be enough. And we're also talking about female topics, just like we have the examples here. We're having Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand. We're having Taiwan, we're having Germany, talking about maybe also about Angela Merkel. We will see. So one thing about globalization. TrendQuest does generational research. So we're not only researching on trends in the German areas of Europe, or not even Europe alone. We're doing research on the global base because we believe in that this is a world where everything grows together, and we as humans on this planet can realize now and can see, due to digitization and also due to the Corona-Krise, that everything is connected with each other. And one of the generations that is already living this connectedness is the Generation Z. This is the nearly youngest generation. It's a generation in the age group of maybe 15 years to maybe 25 years. And they deal with these things more pragmatically. They think and they feel and they have their culture in a more globally site. And their approach is more open, more pragmatic, a little bit also maybe impatient and some things. But in a way, I say we from the old economy, we are from the old generations, we can kind of copy some things of them. Because this is a global world, it's global mankind, it's a connected world. And to solve these problems we're having right now, we have to stick together, we have to work together, and we have to be networked together. We have to accept this. So I'm very, very curious how the upcoming years will be. And I know that if things are changing fast, as they are doing right now, there always will be some struggles. Because when things change fast, there's also the potential of some people getting afraid that things go too fast. And there is the question of how do these ethics work on my behalf? So that's something I'm very, very curious to talk about also with Michael. And I'm very curious about your opinion about this. Get into the discussion, write your comments to this video, or get in contact with me via LinkedIn or with Michael. And should you have any questions on trends or markets, on societal change, TrendQuest will help. So far for now, let's jump into the talk with Michael.
So I'm very happy to have Michael Keating here at the Daily Trend Talk. It's Trend Talk number 41. So Michael, you're doing Keating Relations. You're over 25 years living in Germany. You're Irish originally.
Yes.
But well, I say good that you're here, and I think you're better in introducing yourself.
Yes, so thank you for the opportunity to speak on your Trend Talk. It's an honor for me, thank you. So Michael Keating, Keating Relations is my small company that I've had since 5-6 years. What am I? I'm a human. I'm a human mentor, human networker, bringing people together to create better relations. That's my thing. Since I've been very young in sports, bringing teams together, and now all my life for the last basically 35 years.
Awesome. So why do you deal especially with human relations, with that stuff? Why is it so interesting for you?
Yes, I mean, we live in a world of many different beings. Our human race is, of course, the most advanced. And in terms of living together on our planet, it's important to have good human relations between each other. And so for our society, for companies, that is the essence of making things work in our world. I'm convinced of that. I worked in industry for 20 years for different companies, and yes, companies talk about people make the difference, but they truly do. And it's the quality of those relationships that do really make the difference for us as humans.
So you do consulting for companies on these aspects?
Yes, yeah. As my model is clearly the individual themselves. So leaders, people who have to make big decisions for lots of organizations, but also individual people in their own personal human development, particularly with companies, of course, let's say Führungskräfte in German, but middle managers who are on the road to development. From a business perspective, from a social perspective, I deal as well with individuals in all different kinds of group situations and organizations, families, yeah, it's the basic unit, moving on to different levels of companies in different areas.
So as we know, companies are a kind of tribe. So human behavior comes from the let's say the tribal age. So it's at least maybe 500,000 years old, or maybe even 1 or 2 million years. We count our pre-human ancestors. All the time, people sat there around, for instance, around the campfire and just did their meetings about who catches the reindeers and who takes care for the strawberries and who teaches the kids and what's the shaman saying. Yes. So in a way, now you are the new shaman and you are consulting the companies. But yes, as each company is a tribe, and even each unit is their own tribe.
Yes.
As I understand. How easy is it for them to change their tribe cultures?
Yeah, no, it's a challenge. First of all, each human is very individualistic and has their own way of operating or thinking how best to communicate with each other and the world that we live in. So that complexity is difficult to manage in a structured organization. But our forefathers, they were able to do that by bringing people together and understanding the different perspectives and also the different skill sets that people have And so they could then disseminate work between each other and decide who does what.
Okay.
Because I think the most important aspect in our world today is the who is more important than the what.
Because it's about humans.
Because it's about humans, exactly. And I think today more than ever, when we see the impact of the crisis from COVID-19, it is clearly about the who.
Well, we kind of broke this down in the talking before in the preparation, and we said about HR is also it's about work, it's about economics, and it's about ethics.
Mm-hmm.
And yes. So in a way, as I see it, it's just like the companies are discovering that it's economics is everything, of course, but work isn't just like the hierarchical way of work structures our forefathers had, or even we had 10, 20, 30 years ago, or even some companies are still having.
Mm-hmm.
But regarding the changes that kind of were forced upon all of us, companies learn that working at the home office isn't a threat, but it's an advantage for most of them.
Yes.
What are your experiences with your clients? So how do they deal with these things? Ethics, work?
Yeah, again, the crisis has impacted us by accelerating our embracing of technology, because we have to at the moment. Yeah, I mean, technology was there before to make that possible, but organizations felt it wasn't maybe the optimum way to have humans interact, and so they didn't embrace that technology. In COVID, they've had to, and they realized, wow, this works as well, this interaction between humans. They have to learn new ways of doing it. That's key. New ways of communicating, new ways of collaborating together online, but it's possible. What it also means is that organizations have to be much more flexible in terms of seeing their organization structures and hierarchies, and how they have to let go a little bit of their command and control way of doing business and trust their employees.
Yeah.
And that's difficult for humans generally, to trust others, but it is the essence of relationships, trust.
Isn't it so that what would I say? If we stick with the tribal image, and what we know from the neuroscience, from the sociology, and then the behavioral psychology, and all that stuff, is that there's a kind of limit of group size.
Mm-hmm.
So the group bigger than 6 or 7 people breaks down into 2 groups, and then we have this what was it called, the Dunbar number, or so, with about you only can have close connections to up to 150 people. And building up bigger structures, bigger companies means either you break down the company into lots of singular cells of tribes of teams, but you have to connect the teams. So you need structure, and maybe you also need some hierarchy.
Yes.
How do we deal with both? So just like I say, people want hierarchy, and they also want leadership. They don't want anarchy, because they want someone who helps them transfer the insights of the team to the next team.
Yeah. Clearly, the word network is the most important word. We know about social networks, and we talk about them every day, but social networks is only one part of it. We need more human networks in an organization. Also the accountability of who is responsible for this creation of these networks. Classically, the human resources, or I say human relations department, is a key part of that question. How in their organization should the organization be structured in a network way to optimize this tribal way of doing business, which would be the optimum way to do it. Now, of course, that's a challenge when you have a very classic hierarchy organization, because in reality, you should be having small circles of networks. But that's much more difficult to, let's say, control. And we're back again to that word control, because then you have to trust that employees, humans, will do the right thing. And they will do the right thing if they feel the organization has a good purpose and they feel a common purpose to that. That, for them, yes, it's part of making money, of course, for the organization, but not just the organization. It's part for them to feel valued as humans and, let's say, supported in their own human development, and being involved, really involved and accountable, their own personal accountability for development of themselves and the organizations around them. And that comes with feeling really connected to why the company is there, what they do, what they provide to the human race in terms of their product, their process, and lots today in terms of their impact on our planet. Because we see that it's become much more important variable in how we do something, is the impact on our planet. Because we've seen, perhaps we've done too much and let globalization get way too exposed for our planet, and now we are feeling the impacts through COVID-19 and other things that are happening in our world.
Yeah, that's right. So we have both ethics, but also, well, you have your two handful from the preparation. You said you have your two hands of C's, just like care, communicate. But you tell them yourself.
Yes, of course.
What's the meaning with this, and how do you work with this?
Yes. So for me, the key variable in a lot of organizations is to have the right kind of leaders. And the people really role modeling the kind of behaviors that you would want to have to ensure that people come together and feel comfortable in an organization. And I talk about these two hands. So I talk about leaders caring for people, communicating, collaborating, communing, as in communing together, online, offline, how they work together, and change. These are the 5 most important variables in terms of actions. And then in terms of maybe behaviors for leaders, it's about being calm. It's about being confident. It's about being clear messages. It's about being creative, being open to those different ways of doing things inside organizations with people, and about this collective mindset about we are in this together, we are doing this together. And so these are my 10 C's of how real leaders today can embrace what's happening in the world for us.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. The interesting thing when we look at COVID at the moment is how different leaders, political leaders particularly, have reacted. And we see that many of the leaders that have really shined and done well are female leaders. So you could ask the question, why so are they reacting better? You could say maybe because of their art of thinking about the human dimension in terms of those 5 behaviors, care, confident, clear message, repeated continuously, creative, and collective. These words of we are in this together.
Okay. Yeah, we spoke about this. Jacinda Ardern from New Zealand, and then also the leader of South Korea, and Angela Merkel. Taiwan,
Yeah.
sorry.
Taiwan, yeah.
And Angela Merkel.
Exactly. So it's about
Yep.
Yeah, it's about, in reality, their way of communication, their way of, let's say, giving a picture of authenticity and trust.
Okay.
And clear messages, what we need to do together to combat this virus, this crisis. And clearly, one of the most important things is openness to even admit mistakes, which the New Zealand leader on TV explained to people that they made a mistake in the crisis, and she was sorry for it, and that they are now reacting to it. This is a human dimension of many people which is not shown, and it is a key. You know, you show your humanity, as the saying goes, and then people develop trust in you and trust in your governments. Because if you look at how maybe government people in New Zealand or in Taiwan, they see their governments, they see them trustworthy because they see this person as the leader of their government really being open, trustworthy, and humane.
Okay. I see this. I see the difference is between the, let's say, the old economy way of leading a company or managing a company is more steep pyramidal hierarchy. In comparison to the flat network, and from behavior, from biology, and so we know that the more female principle is more flat networks, but with way higher frequency of exchanging information. And so I just also, as you said, it's maybe a kind of agile. It's maybe also admitting, okay, my mistake. You as your kind of double view from being here in Germany as a citizen, but also having a view from abroad. You know that Germans are very skeptical about Angela Merkel. On the other hand, you see her from outside, from abroad. People say, yeah, she's a tough leader and she gets things done. And how would you say? How would she fit into this group of female leaders?
Absolutely. I mean, again, we're very subjective in our evaluation of others, and in Germany, because Germans are very, very good at being very process orientated and have a desire to perfectionism. It's quite a very high, Latte, as we would say in German, right, to reach. And so people judge on this very high level of expectation. Sometimes those expectations are a little bit higher in Germany than in other countries. If we take that as a union of why people don't see the good in others, that's maybe a challenge, that people see, a perspective, the glass is half empty or half full, and that's an art of being, and it's not bad, it's not good, it's just different. And so you could say maybe people in Germany have a higher expectation of their leaders, and when they don't, in their opinion, reach that level, then they're critical of what they've done. Maybe they can see more of what they have achieved as the glass half full. But in reality, we are different cultures, and that is the key in my travels globally in the world. We're different humans. We make up different art of strengths and weaknesses, if you dare say that word, bringing different levels of cultures together in teams, in organizations, in our world is absolutely the key of being absolutely in this together, having different perspectives from a cultural basis, from a multidiscipline basis, to really decide how best to move forward in our world or in our organizations. I've been working in corporate world, and some of my best experiences as a leadership team of 5 people was 5 different nationalities, 5 different cultures, 5 different ways of thinking, of living in the world. That is diversity. That is true diversity. And our world is diverse. We just need to bring that together more, particularly in organizations. And we need to, fuse that. And it's costly. It costs money to bring people together in a world. Yeah. But it's not that costly anymore. We have technology to make it happen. And if you see sort of the impact of the COVID-19, how different hackathons have been put together, where people have been allowed to come together worldwide on a platform to exchange on ideas of how to combat the crisis. Unbelievable creativity.
Yes,
chaos a little bit, of course, but incredible creativity. And Germany should be very proud for their Wir versus Virus hackathon. 40,000 people took part in a weekend. That's incredible.
Yes.
1,200 projects. I mean, just the power of connectivity, collective, collaborative, chaos. Yeah, was incredible.
I think that's something very important. This also has been a big learning for the people participating, that this would have been possible to collaborating in the kind of, so for the people who don't know what a hackathon is, it's just a kind of mega workshop, group conference, congress, whatever you call it. It's not about coding, it's about working, developing projects and ideas and business models and so on. 1,500 business models. I participated there too, and I found it astounding and astonishing, and I found it awesome. And that's a good example of how maybe on the surface looking a little bit chaotic, but then self-organizing teams are building up and saying, okay, I want to do that thing. Okay, I do that. Who's with me? Who's with me? And suddenly you have these teams, and all are clustered together and all are in that whole structure. Two questions, two thoughts. So could we see this as a role model of a company of the future working, just like the maybe I exaggerate a little bit. You throw a bunch of people into one room, say, go, work something out, and organize yourselves, and I want results. And on the other hand, how could this be a solution for a corporation, for a company? And the second point is, how could we find talent and just people, employees, and include them into these things, or get new people on board the same way? What do you think?
Yeah. Now, it is a challenge to organize something like this, because organizations tend to want to have a framework that's very static, and rigid. But would have to really open itself and say, we are happy to bring people from different disciplines, different cultures together in a framework of common purpose. Okay, so there is a purpose in organizations to do certain things, even social things, but also things that are good for the planet, that are good for people, that are good for the company, in terms of making prosperity for everybody. And so you could open up channels of online events to bring people together. Now, there's some organization behind that. to make it efficient and think how best do we mix people together from different environments, from different disciplines to get the best out of it. But sometimes you can do that, and sometimes you can make it really open and let people just come and see what happens with that creativity. So that, it's a mix. Organizations have to be open for these new ways of creativity and collaboration, but it's very possible today. Yeah, it's really very possible through technology. Technology is an enabler on that. And not just within the company, but with outside the company. We talked before, companies were always interested about customer focus groups and understanding what the customer wants. It's really about stakeholders and understanding what do those stakeholders outside our organization also want in the community. So it's this idea of a community collaborative event to bring different perspectives. And then the outputs are much more rounder. It's not just focused on the company, it's focused about the community, and it can have different stakeholder partners come to the table, even government agencies.
So how would we, if you make a kind of conclusion, so we are not there at the end, but we are near the end of, for now, of the talk. But there's still some questions. And also, I encourage you guys, people watching this, and just put your questions in the comment, or just totally directly contact Michael or me via LinkedIn, for instance.
LinkedIn is the best, yeah.
Yeah. And,
KEATINGRELATIONS.
KEATINGRELATIONS. And the link, of course, the URL, they will be in the description of the video. So, I think that we have much to discuss, and so it's about. It sounds like, just like when we take this VR versus virus hackathon, it sounds like there is an opportunity and a possibility for a company to say, okay, we're having a need for, let's say, 10, 20, 50, or 2,000 new employees. They apply for that and that and that job. But it sounds like a little bit just like the job market will open up more to just like how would I say it? We are open to people applying freely to the company, want to work with or in the company, but not definitely at that position alone. And there is a Ricardo Semler. Ricardo Semler is the son of, took over the company Semco in Brazil about 30 years ago from his father, and then got kind of collapsed because due to overwork after 1 or 2 years, and then said to his dad, no, I can't work with this. I rebuilt the company. And his father said, you don't do this. This is a tradition, or you're not my son anymore, whatever, what happened. But then he restructured the company, and there were about 100 or 200 employees at max, and restructured the company with the employees and with all the people, and about 60% of the management left during that restructuring time. That's much. And but now the company is a group, and there are about 5,000, 6,000 employees, whatever. They're very big, and they have a growth rate. Had a growth rate of about 900%, and employee satisfaction of under 1% or so. So people told to headhunters, no, why should I leave? I have the best opportunity to evolve myself in that company, in that group. And if I don't like that position, then I have the option to change. And they even have the obligatory rotation for people in management while growing up into that management positions, to rotate inside the company to get to know the company better. I think many people, many corporations learned what Semler introduced 30 years ago, and we're still in this process. So
indeed,
I think this is a task. But now comes AI. Now comes the technology. You said we have to embrace technology, but we have to use it as an assistant and not as the god of technology.
Yeah. I think those two things which you just mentioned. One is about allowing more human accountability for people joining an organization and really defining their own roles.
Yes.
And letting them really make their own self-conscious decisions about where can I bring the most impact in an organization, and not just being, let's say, constrained by a job description. Now, that makes complexity in an organization, of course, to manage that. But it is possible, very possible. You see this organization in Brazil with 6,000 people. It takes a lot of effort. The most important variable it takes is trust, because you have to then trust your employees to do the right thing for the common purpose of the organization. But it's a quid pro quo, because the organization says, do what you want to do, which makes you develop in the best ways and give us the best of what you can be capable of. Be the best that you can be. And that has really brought those two things together. Now, that's the model of maybe the future organizations that we should have. The other is then technology as a tool, as an enabler, to allow that to happen faster. Because, relationships can be formed globally between different people much, much quicker now because of technology.
Yep.
We just need to keep that balance, because of course we're still humans. We need to have human contact, real human contact, not just online. And so this will also be an important variable for companies to ensure that we have this balance,
So
being online and offline, and getting eventually groups of people to meet and really connect on a human face-to-face level.
So as a conclusion, what's your motto for that?
My motto is better together, together better.
That's great. That's really good. That's awesome. Michael, as a tradition, we're having the topic of the book, the favorite book or favorite series. So do you have a
yes,
book? Whatever.
Yes. So it's a book. It's quite old now. It's at least 15, 20 years old. It's from Jim Collins. Good to Great.
Okay.
And it's his journey about how to get organizations to move from being good companies to being great companies. And he talks about getting the right people on the bus. Bus being sort of the organization and where we want to go in the, for our future.
That sounds great.
He says, it's who before what.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Yeah. So I'd say we have to continue this because we barely touched the ethics of AI and also the connection with that.
Yes.
And I enjoyed having you here very much.
Thank you very much.
So
remember my two hands.
That's really great. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hope to speak well again with you soon.
We will. Thanks a lot.
So that's been the Daily Trendtalk with Michael Keating. What are your thoughts about this? What's your opinion? Please give us your feedback. Talk to us. Be there. Step into the discussion, and we would like to make a follow-up trend talk to this also. So if you'd like to participate, also get in contact. If you're having questions or need more information, just get in contact with Michael. His LinkedIn URL will be there also. And also, if you'd like to discuss more on this, on the trend aspect, just get in contact with me. TrendQuest is here for you. We help you also to prepare for kind of future surprises and also for things coming up in your business or in markets or in HR or leadership topics. It's one world, one connected world. and we do this all together. That's why we do the daily Trend Talk, and that's why we're happy to be here for you to help and to evolve together. See you tomorrow at the next daily Trend Talk, and until now, I hope you're having a wonderful day, a sunny day, and I wish you all the best.